Do it.
I'll let you know. And it's live. Hey, Wendy. How are you, girl?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Awesome. So I have Wendy Sterling. Oh, sorry, the fans in the background, y'all. I didn't know it was on. Sometimes that's disturbing to people. I have Wendy Sterling joining me today for our number 8 Facebook chat, where Lead Up for Women is grabbing our expert members and we're bringing them forward into the spotlight for you. We're doing it so that you have the opportunity to be able to, for you to be able to learn from the experts that are in this lane of genius. And the beautiful part is every expert we have on every day, multiple times, we have different ones during the day, they're from every industry. And Wendy comes from the divorce industry, I guess. I'm just going to say it.
May see an increase as a result of this.
So I think we can address the big elephant in the room, which is we're all stuck together in one house. Like, none of my kids are here because I'm an empty nester, and you're divorced. So you're feeling single mom right now at home with kids. We haven't even addressed a lot. A lot of people are addressing what it's like for moms to be able to do homeschooling that they've never done before. Maybe they don't even have the education to homeschool. The tools and resources aren't provided for them to homeschool. But we haven't even addressed that some of these mothers are single mothers that either have been laid off or they're trying to work from home. That's a big issue right now. So I always say, if there's anybody out there in any capacity that you know that you can serve them in any way, maybe it's cooking a meal and taking it to a neighbor that you know is a single mother and dropping that off for her. Like, could you imagine how wonderful that would be and what a blessing you could be just secretly as an angel in doing that? So again, I want to encourage all of you watching this to try to figure out every day, what can you do to reach out to someone to help in your community? Because this is all about us coming together as a community in today's world. And Wendy, you are especially busy working with women that are either in the middle of a divorce, they were moving forward with a divorce, but now with courts closing, that presents a whole different a hurdle for them. And they're scared even more now than they were before. And we've been talking a lot about replacing the word panic with possibility. So how have you been helping your clients do that? And how are you able to navigate through this and help your clients?
Sure. So, it has been very interesting because, as you said, I'm working with clients across the board, even ones that are in the should I stay or should I go phase. And what I am noticing is coming up most frequently is everyone is commenting on how stuck they feel. That they feel stuck not only within their homes, but they also feel stuck in moving their divorce process forward. And this can translate right into any other person's life where it's you feel stuck because work is on hold, or you feel stuck because you can't go anywhere, or you feel stuck because, I can't see my mom. Like, my mom has cancer and I'm not allowed to see her. And I don't know how long that's going to be, right? So maybe you have loved ones that you can't be around and you feel stuck, right? And the one area that I have been focusing on a lot, especially with my divorce community, is while the courts may be closed, what you can be doing to feel momentum and moving forward is working on mind, right? Working on your mindset around what is happening and working on what you do have control over. And a lot of that has to do with like the ways that we get to be. And, I did a whole workshop around, fear, because that is what everybody is feeling right now. But the fear is a result of feeling stuck, not able to move forward, not able to continue in our everyday life. And the strategies that I have been teaching my community are not difficult for us to pivot into. They're just not exactly intuitive until you actually point them out. So, I'm happy to share what some of those strategies are with the audience today, because really anybody can use these. You don't have to be divorced to use these strategies in areas where you're feeling stuck.
Yeah, that's what this is about. This is about how can we share with our community on what we can do every day if you're feeling this. So Wendy, please, I would
Yeah.
be happy for you to share that.
So this is going to sound counterintuitive, but it's the God honest truth, which is that when you are feeling stuck, the first step forward is to actually take a step back. And what that means is like, we try to like push forward with like all the force, and or it's like a push forward and we're feeling this resistance back. Well, unfortunately, we all have to sort of take a moment, put a pin in it, and start assessing our situations from a totally new perspective, right? Which is really hard for everybody because we are on autopilot. We function a certain way. We have a routine. We do this and we do that. And, the divorce was moving and now it's not. And, this is a time to really self-reflect and say, okay, where am I at in this moment? What got me here, and what is it that like I really want, that I know that I have my own control over. And what I have found is that when you actually kind of, it's more like take a bird's eye view, right? That's what taking a step back means. When you take that bird's eye view of your life, of your career, of whatever challenges are coming up, and you look at them from a distance, what winds up happening is that you see things from a different perspective all of a sudden, right? And so when you are looking at things from that different perspective, guess what happens? You creatively come up with new ways, new mechanisms, new routes, or even new people to support you wherever it is that you are, right? So in looking at things differently, it's amazing how it just shifts your whole way of being, right? Like we're all stuck home right now. We feel like we are chained to our houses. Well, that is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it, right? A bird's eye view is I am being forced to slow down. I am being forced to clean out my house. My kids and I cleaned out our garage. I have been encouraging my clients in my community to share new ways of how they are getting out and sharing love in the world. I have one client who beautifully, okay, there's two things I'm going to share with your audience that she did that any of us can do. They went on a walk and they took trash bags with them and decided to just pick up whatever trash they saw along the way. Not that they live in a dirty neighborhood, but their parks are still open, and they went on a hike and they cleaned the trails and collected garbage bags full of garbage and threw them away. They also wrote letters that they're delivering to an old age home because they don't have interaction. They're not getting to connect with anybody. I also have clients who are taking walks in their neighborhood and getting chalk and just writing love messages along the sidewalk. You don't have to feel stuck in your house, guys, and you don't have to feel like you're not getting connection. You just get to try different things, right? And that is strategy number 2, which is brainstorming what your options are, right? Expanding your mind, being open to thinking about different ways to do things. My boys and I, yesterday, we were out on I've met so many people I didn't even know lived in my neighborhood, you guys. Because I have a dog, I knew the dog people, but I'm meeting more dog people that I never knew existed. We're taking different routes. People are taking different routes because we're all walking, and taking different paths. And we're able, guess what? We're connecting from across the street. And another thing I'm doing, one of my best friends and I, we're going to do a happy hour in one of our driveways, social distancing ourselves, bringing our BYOB and BYO food, and we're going to catch up and still get to be together. But again, like, it's not like, everybody looks at things as like positive and negative and good and bad. It just is. It's neutral, right? So if people instead stop getting into this stressful place and, start over analyzing things, like, it's just about what it is that you get to do instead. Right. Not good, not bad. Just what do you get to do instead?
You know, that's a good point that you just mentioned. And I want to spotlight that really quick
Yeah.
because it is what it is, right? So, not one of us can change if we're quarantined or not. Not one of us can change what's happening with COVID-19 and whether they've found a cure or a vaccine. But what we can do is find ways to collaborate inside of our community. I know right now in my community, they've created a Facebook page for women and men and children that want to be able to participate in making masks. And so some people have supplies and they're saying, you can come and grab them. I'll drop them off at your house if you just want to cut, if you just want to sew, if you just want to tie, whatever it is. Like, they're creating community. Children were writing cards, dropping them off in bins, and someone went and delivered them to in an elderly home here in the community. So just as you said, this is ways for us to think outside the box, get extremely creative on how we can acclimate ourselves to what is this new normal. And everyone seems to forget that we just went through 9/11, you know, in 2001. That became a new normal. How we fly, how we do things. Then we went through the recession. We were now into a new normal because business changed the way you could do business after that. We're now coming after this in a new normal. So instead of allowing the sky is falling to be this gloom and doom on you every day, this is an opportunity. To me, I see a silver lining and an opportunity to take action on things that, whether you haven't had the chance in the past to ever take action on them, now you can take action on them. And I love your comment about the bird's eye view, because you have to change your mindset. Means you're looking at things through a different perspective. And when you start looking at things through a different perspective and you find joy or happiness in that, because you have two choices. You can either walk around with the sky is falling, be completely stressed out, worry about not having a job or money or whatever it may be, or those things still exist, by the way. All of those things still exist. Your approach on how you take action on them, your approach on how you approach the day, how you feel about it, how you're helping other people, just staying positive and being out and keeping yourself visible, showing up for your family, being the leader inside your family that you can be as a female, and being seen, you know, and staying top of mind for people without asking for anything in return is huge right now, because who do you think they're going to remember when everything's back to the new normal?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's a great point. I mean, I think that, we're seeing this as a negative, right? Because of the chaos and the fear that we're reading about, right? And part of what I'm also telling people is just filter your social media, filter your news, because you can get sucked into the fear and the panic. Yeah. And all it's doing is feeding the fear and the panic, right? And it's not helping anybody. If anything, it is hurting the greater world and the greater good. And to me, this is a reset. This is a nationwide reset button. Reprioritize, guys. If this wasn't a bigger 2x4 to knock us upside the head, awareness and just shifting. This is your time to make changes in your life that you've been neglecting, you've been ignoring, you have said you don't have time for. And I think in one of those things, for example, for me, ironically, is self-care, right? I am not good at self-care because I am a doer, mover, shaker. I feel like serve, 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 give, give, give. And then I forget about myself. And what this has allowed me to do is to be like, whoa, Wendy, you get to take care of yourself now. This was the lesson for me, right? And something that I'm also offering, one other thing I also did is, you guys, there's so many resources for online workouts, online yoga, online meditation. A very good friend of mine came in my group today and she led this beautiful Kundalini yoga meditation today that literally for, I think it was 10 minutes, I felt so calm and I'm good today. It was 10 minutes of accessing a free resource, right? And what I call that is like our brains need a break.
Yeah.
Like we need a
a
break.
cleanse, you know, like
juice cleanse.
Push it all out. You know, I just picture when you work on that, you know, your brain, it's like all the muck and like the stuff that builds up into like an oil, you know, if a car did an oil change, like you get all the mess out and then you just, it's clear. Clean.
100%. And again, you know, one of the women this morning was like, well, I'm used to getting up at 7 and going to my yoga class and this and that. And she's struggling with her health. And, you know, and I said to her, I was like, well, why do you think that you don't get to still do that, but do it in a different way? You can still get up at 7 and do yoga.
There's so many online right now for free. And by the way, there always was.
Always was.
So you could go to YouTube every day, any day, not pay, and get free workouts all the time. You know, even in our community, because I teach, you know, fitness during the week, and we decided to go online and do lives and teaching them in little 30-minute increments throughout the week so that the people that we were serving still have the opportunity. And let me tell you this. If you feel like, oh, I'm not going to go out there and do it, even though I'm a yoga instructor and maybe the company I worked for shut down and now I'm unemployed, I've heard of so many people say, well, I'm not going to go out there and teach yoga because there's just too many of them right now. And it's like, why do you think they came to your class? They came to your class because of you. Like you were the one that inspired them. They love the way you teach it. So yes, you can still do that online. And I love that many companies are having to, their backs are up against the wall and it's either make it or break it. Yeah. And when you're in that situation, you have no choice but to figure out a way to make it. And so I love the inspiration it's given businesses on how they need to be creative to be able to live in this new reality. And it's going to change business forever. And so many small businesses now will be emerging from this as well, because people, you know, want to take back their control in their lives, and they don't want to wait for a government to bail them out or somebody else to give them a job now because they laid them off, or wait for unemployment. So the choice is yours. It's in your hands. And you mentioned it the other day, Wendy. And so today what I wanted to do was have you offer some advice to women that are thinking about going through a divorce, are in a divorce, do not have anyone that they're working with through this, like a coach. And I, you know, wish Wendy was around when I went through my 2 divorces a long time ago, because I had nobody except for friends and family. And without those friends and families, I never would have been able to make it. So having someone in my corner that can help me move from, it's exactly what you taught at our sanctuary, move from a victim mindset to an ownership mindset. You are not a victim of COVID-19. And anyone that thinks they are in the complete wrong mindset. You own your life, your reality, your today. What are you going to do with this opportunity?
100%. And everyone is feeding into the victim mindset, which is something that I'm trying to shift, you know, even just within my own community. And I appreciate the opportunity to come into yours to support your message around that as well.
Well, it's your community too, because you're a member.
True. Our community. Very true. But no, I mean, in terms of advice, you know, we talked about this also a little bit the other day, but, you know, it's a couple of things. It's first and foremost, you cannot make these types of decisions by yourself. It is not a path that you navigate alone, because if you choose to navigate it alone, you are going to stay in victim mindset. You are going to stay in fear. You're going to stay in pain.
You're going to send out invitations to the pity party. That's my favorite part of what you say. Yes. Invitations are going to start going out, like, come to my pity party.
And no one's going to come anymore. No one's
going to show up.
No, because guess what, guys? Our friends get really sick of hearing us bitch and moan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I swear. Our friends get tired of it. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's going to impact your relationships. Yeah. And there's people like me in the world, right? I am a divorce recovery specialist. I've been through this. I have created my own particular program around how to get through this, because I tried to lone wolf it. I tried to do it by myself, and I loved being a victim because I got attention when I was a victim. And all it did was shine the light on victim. And instead of moving myself forward, I was choosing to live in my story. I was choosing to live in my past. And it didn't serve anybody, least of all myself. So, tip number one, ask for support. It's not a weakness, it's actually a strength when you ask for help. And that was a hard lesson I had to learn. Number two tip is community. It is so important, aside, and I'm talking help like one-on-one help by somebody who actually knows and understands what you're going through. Number two is community, right? Having a support system of people who understand and know what it is that you're going through. Our friends are amazing, our family is amazing, but they also keep us stuck because they don't know how to help us. They think helping us is that a-hole, you know, you deserve better, you're going to be fine, you're going to get over this, blah, 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 blah.
Protecting. They feel like they're protecting you. Yeah.
Exactly, which is wonderful and loving. And I love my family who did the same thing. You know, my dad had a slightly different point of view on how he felt, but regardless, a community of people, right? And in order for us to feel supported and for us to get really vulnerable, we get really vulnerable more easily around strangers than we do our best friends. Mm-hmm. And the reason being that, I'll give an example. Someone in my group earlier this week shared vulnerably during one of my group Zoom calls. And the next day she was like, oh my God, I can't believe I let all that out. It's been stored in so much. And I thanked her because at least one other person on the call feels the same way, didn't have the courage to speak, got to see, that she's not alone, right? And that's what's so important, is that you get to know that you're not doing this by yourself, because in our own siloed worlds, I'm the only one divorced in my friend zone. I'm the only one. And I don't care anymore, but it was hard because no one knew or understood what I was feeling. Mm-hmm. Community. Yeah. Number three, I would say, it's hard to narrow it down to three. But I would say number three is getting comfortable with being vulnerable. The reason being that if you don't allow yourself to feel what's coming up, and that is true as it relates to COVID-19 too, right? I'm not sitting here saying don't have emotion around it. It is scary. This is a scary virus. Mm-hmm. However, if you are internalizing it and letting it eat you up from the inside and not really fully saying how freaked out you are, like you're pretending you're cool, or you're taking it to an extreme, right? By being vulnerable in sharing what's coming up with you, you will start hearing other people who are in a similar boat. Mm-hmm. And somehow that brings the panic down a little bit, right? And by being vulnerable, you're allowing the emotion to come out. You're allowing yourself to feel it. And you're actually healing what's coming up for you as you're allowing it to come up. And sometimes it's even just naming it. It could be as simple as saying yeah, I'm scared for my kids. I'm scared about this. And then it goes away. You just let it go. Mm-hmm. So allow yourself to be vulnerable in sharing what's coming up, because that's the only way it's going to get out. If you're sitting here sulking at home and going, oh my God, I'm so freaked out. I'm so freaked out. I'm going to pretend that my kids don't know I'm so freaked out.
Right.
You're making it worse for yourself.
So true, Wendy. So true. I hope everyone heard those tips, because I'm going to write those in the description, and I'm going to have Wendy now share what it is that she's offering the community. So remember, tip number one, ask for help. So asking for help means finding a specialist that can help you. I don't care if that's a therapist. I don't care if that's a coach. Find somebody that can help you. Tip number two, community. get into communities. Wendy has a wonderful community. She's going to talk about it in a minute, where all the women are supporting each other. Lead Up for Women's a great community. We're not just supporting divorced women, we're supporting women entrepreneurs as a whole. But she's going to talk about her community. And tip number 3, I say, take action. Take action to the uncomfortable, which is being vulnerable. Be brave enough to be uncomfortable, in a situation until you get to the comfortability level. And that's how you stretch, expand, and grow. So, Wendy, will you share with our viewers how they can get in contact with you and what your offer is for today?
Yeah, sure. So you guys can get into contact with me. You can friend me on Facebook, Wendy Sterling. And then my private Facebook group is for divorced women. And that group is called The Divorce Rehab. So you can just find it in Facebook. Within my group, it's free. I have different people coming in different days of the week. I'm throwing out content. I host free workshops in there. What I am offering to anyone that would like to take me up on it is a free 15-minute complimentary call with me. That is meant to be a time where I support you. I will listen to what's coming up. This is something that you can hit, my offer is hitting on the 3 tips that I gave today, because honestly, I am here to support. I have had a lot of people reach out because, again, the courts are closed. They don't know how to move forward. They feel like they're in this place. And even just a 15-minute call with me has allowed some relief. And I will also offer up, I have a really great PDF, a free PDF that I'm sharing out as well, that has to do with 5 steps different than what I talked about today, but 5 steps that you can take to move forward and not feel so stuck given the times that we are in. So I will put that link in the comments as well for people to access. So like I said, it's completely free downloadable.
That's great. Thank you, Wendy. And thank you for being with us today while we are in our casual Friday attire. That's what I love about working from home. See, Wendy and I have worked from home for a lot of years. We both came from corporate America. And I remember it being like jeans Friday, like certain days you could wear stuff. And now I'm like, I just wear what I want to wear when I want to wear it. But the most beautiful part about that is I can just be me all the time authentically. And what's in here doesn't necessarily always reflect how I'm dressed on the outside, because, I have to say, you just go with the flow. And I love the fun trends that are going around. Like, people are having a fun time with this and are doing things to uplift others. So if you're stuck, Wendy's the perfect person for you to reach out to. So Wendy, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with the Lead Up for Women community, and being engaged with the women that need you in our community, and for helping so many other women globally that are struggling through this, because millions of women get divorced and they do need somebody to help them that knows, that has it in their rearview mirror. Because like I say, when it's in your windshield, you have no idea how to deal with it. But when it's in your rearview mirror, you now can be the one that can lead up, leave the ladder down, and help another lady along. So thank you for doing that.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody. We're out of here. I'll see you guys later. See you a little later with our next